The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
Let us start. Prima, so share with us where you came from. How was your life before you have this encounter with the author of love? How was your life, your situation, your pain? Share with us a little bit.
So to begin from my earliest memory was when I was like 5 years old. I remember my dad beating up my mum, but more than black and blue. Until today, I'm like, I don't know how she survived it. So that was my earliest memory. And then I think that's the first time I ever felt aggression or anger as such a little child. And then from then on, I would always draw anger from that place, from that memory. So my upbringing was really broken and destroyed. I'm from a single parent household. My mum raised me, my sisters. My father, now he's not, but at the time he was a heavy alcoholic, very, very abusive, very dangerous person. And then my mum as well, having to bring up 3 children. I'm her first, so she didn't really have experience when she was bringing me up as well. So at the time there was a lot of clashes. For the longest, me and my mum clashed, and I was always thinking, but why doesn't this person love me? Like, how is this a mother? So I grew up with a lot of bitterness, and then it reflected in my schoolwork, it reflected in my social circles. My family members would always put me down. I was the black sheep. So I just felt like I was very frustrated in life. Nothing would ever go my way. I really victimized if you want to think of a victim, that was me. And I was the victim that was the bully as well, because I felt like the world is so against me. So I would just act how I wanted, say what I wanted, hurt whoever I wanted, because I felt like I was so hurt. And because no one can ever relate to me, no one should ever dare say anything to me. That was sort of my...
And humanly speaking, you had reasons to behave like that.
Yes, I did.
Because indeed you were a victim of the situations that were around you. Because I can imagine you as a child. Sorry, how old were you when you were witnessing this thing?
From 5.
From 5 to...
Wow.
From 5 onwards?
Yeah, from 5 to about 8.
8.
We came to this country, like to the point that the abuse is so bad that they've given us refuge in a new country. That's how dangerous my dad was.
Wow.
Yeah, so
My
we escaped that. So I was thinking...
Where you came from?
Uganda. I'm from Uganda. So we escaped that. Like my dad, we've never had... Now we have a relationship, but we never had a relationship like he would make me call him boss. Imagine. So that's...
Sorry, you call your father?
Boss.
Boss?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
everyone
serious.
called him boss, including us as well. If I ever tried to say daddy, anything, he would insult me, and I'm his child. So there was too much aggression inside of me, and when you're so young, you don't know where to face these feelings. So when I came to this country as well, I was thinking, okay, me and my mum will get close now. But then she had to now make a living for herself, make a living for me, bring us up. So she never had time to me, and she never had time to be a parent. So it's like in school, that would reflect in my behavior. In class, I was rude. Sometimes I'll just burst out into tears for no reason. Sometimes I'll just be antisocial for no reason. I was very confused. And then finances as well, the frustration was there because we didn't have money. So it's like everyone surrounding me has money, the kids have money, I'm getting bullied for my clothes, and I'm not understanding why I'm being bullied when I'm already going through such a hard time. So this really caused me to retaliate. I would pickpocket, even from family members, I would pickpocket as well. And then I would always catch my mum speaking to relatives about how much hard work I was. And this hurt me so badly because I knew I'm not really like this. I'm just, this is the only way I know how to be. But because she did that as well, this added to the rage in me. So I would make sure what she has called me, the name she has called me, I'm going to do that. I'm going to behave that way. So then we had domestic violence between me and her. We'd be fighting there. Age 14, I lost my virginity. Unfortunately, my mother didn't really give me that talk of like being intimate with someone. So I got pregnant and I didn't even know I was pregnant.
At the age of 14?
14 years old. I think I managed to be 3 months pregnant without knowing. It's my mum that found out I was pregnant. Then she went to the school nurse, they made a plan, then they made me do a test. And even when she found out I was pregnant, she just lost it. So I'm just here thinking, I'm pregnant? Was I intimate? I don't understand everything. And the woman's just shouting at me. So I was very, very confused. Then we went for a termination. And I think that first termination took a piece of me away. So this just added to emotions that were going on inside of me. So I started drinking, smoking. Now there was no fear. It was just recklessness that took over because I was very numb as a person now. So I just started misbehaving.
But, Prima, tell us, you were 14 when you had this
Yes.
problem, but of course, before that, many things happened,
Yes.
that led you to this point.
Yeah.
But when you think about that, when you remember this what happened to you, can you now? Of course, we know there is a spiritual background behind everything, but let us try to find, naturally speaking, a reason why did you had any kind of regret, after doing these things, a moment that you felt like, what I'm doing in my life? Did you have a moment like that, or just going deep in this life? How was that?
I think at that age, the regret was very minimal. I would only regret when I was caught. Because when I'm caught, that's when everything hits the fan. You get shouted at, put down, and things like that. But at the time when I'm doing these things, I don't regret, because I'm doing them out of pain and anger, and it makes me feel alive. It gives me substance. Because if I wasn't involved in something, I was also such an attention seeker as well. I was the worst kind of attention seeker, the one that causes fights with people. So if I wasn't doing these kind of things, I felt like I wasn't a person, like I would almost disappear, like I was a ghost or something. Like I would sit here having conversations with myself thinking, am I even real? Is life real? So I had to always be in drama just to feel okay, because it's like, who has this kind of upbringing at home? Who goes through these things at home? Never having a present mother, then always getting into fights, never being able to behave. It's like I wanted to behave and I couldn't. So at the time of doing the things, no, I wouldn't think of anything. But once I get caught, then I would be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? Like I would miss school, I would bunk off school to go and shoplift.
Wow.
And then when I get caught by the security guard, they call my mom or they call the police. That's when I'm like, oh, Prima, what are you doing? But then I'll do it again. I would. And it's a sick thing, but I think also it was a way of getting attention from my mum, because it's like bad attention is better than no attention. So at least then, when she comes, she's shouting, at least she's noticing me, because otherwise she's just thinking about her finances and, other things as well. Then I had my stepdad in my life for a little while. I think from 14 to about 17, he was there. So he was that stable foundation. When he was around, there was less drama. Like going home was okay. But when I was 17, he passed away, unfortunately. So that also brought a lot of confusion in our lives, financially speaking. My mother was out of work, bills were piling. So then this is when I took it upon myself to kind of be the hero of the family, if I can say. Then I started thinking of ways to make money quickly just to help. So I got myself in the wrong crowd. Then I started transporting drugs. And even when I would do things like that, it wasn't like, Prima, what are you doing? No, it was just like, I'm making money. I'm going to take it home. She'll be happy. I'll be happy. Because I just really just wanted that. Just be happy. Let's love each other. Yeah. So all of this came from the fact that.
So in your mind, you were doing the right thing.
Yeah. For me, it's like, there's this saying of the means justifies the ends. So the ends would be happy family, no bills. My mum would love me. So the means was be legal, do things the wrong way. But I never thought of how I was endangering my body, how I was putting myself in situations. It was just like, no, the end goal is she's going to be happy, so you're going to be happy because you love her. So the root was always my mum. I want love. I want her.
But tell me, please, how did you feel looking back now? And if you could see that Prima again, how would you describe her, the way that she feel and everything?
If I could describe her?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because you're talking about two different persons now, no?
Yeah. No, that Prima, honestly speaking, that Prima, if to describe her, she was sad. She was really sad. Like, that Prima, she just wanted guidance, if I can say. She just needed direction. Yes, she was a rebel. Yes, she was very proud, very stubborn. But if someone had taken a long enough time to sit with her, I promise they could have gotten through to her. But that never happened. And that's because that Prima at the time was too afraid of failure or too afraid to be seen as vulnerable. So she would rather just prove everyone right. I am bad. I am this. But she was just such a sad, unhappy girl that just wanted love, that just wanted a stable life that couldn't be provided for her. So she tried to provide it for herself.
And when you were like alone in your bedroom or in a moment with yourself, how was that for you? Because in that moment, you hadn't. When we are alone, we have to face the reality.
Oh my God, not me. No way. There's no such thing. I could not face my reality. I was that far gone because my reality was just too much. I already felt like I have disappointed anyone that matters to me. So when it was time for me to be alone, I would create not an alter ego, but I would create like a world. So I'll go into my world and just be there. In my world, it's just peaceful, it's quiet, no one's shouting at you, no one's looking for drama, no one's trying to fight you. You're just with yourself, you know. And in my world, everyone likes me, I'm happy. Happiness was really what I really wanted. But just sitting down and being like, this is your life, this is what you're doing at school, this is what you're doing with your family, that I could never allow myself to go there, because I think if I went to that place, I wouldn't come back from that place. I got close once and I drank myself into a complete stupor. I drank myself so much because I was so close to touching that vulnerable part of me. So I got very, very drunk. So I would never allow myself to go back there. It was easy just to stay on 100. And that way, yeah, I thought that that's life.
So for you to keep this level of illusion, I believe you have to start to go deeper into this life for you to start, okay, let me keep this facade, let me, pretend I'm a well, though you are not.
Yes.
You were, suffering, so you had to go even deeper for you to keep that.
But in that time, you felt like stronger because you did so many things.
Yes, and the more things that I succeeded in doing, the adrenaline rushes inside of you. So I did feel stronger, it's true. And with the deeper issue, it's true because, for instance, with pornography, it's something that was just happening around school, it's cool or whatever. Even my relatives, they would do it. For me, it wasn't something like that, but I was like, no, this is going to make me edgy, this is going to... So I allowed myself to let that door open so that I could start watching it and things like that. And it took its toll on me, which I never expected. Those times, no one talks about addiction to pornography or things like this, but it took its toll on me. I wasn't addicted heavily to the point that that's all I think about. But I knew that when it was time to have that moment, I would have it. And then I would drink more, and I would make sure I was drinking hard liquors because I wanted to be rough. I wanted to, keep testing the surface and scratching beneath the surface. I would smoke. When I smoke marijuana, I would get very aggressive. But the more aggressive I got, I felt like this is power. People fear me now, things like that. And to the point that I stopped being two different people, like outside of the house, inside of the house. I became that person inside of my mother's home. Wow. And this just broke any love, anything that I thought she had for me. So then my brain was like, okay, she hates me now, so let me just do what I like. Let me just do it. I still love her. That's why I'm trying to bring the money, but let me just live my own life. It doesn't matter. To the point, the hatred that I had for her was so much that I would write letters and I would leave them around knowing she's going to clean and find the letters. And the letters would be like, I hate you, you stupid woman, you don't love me. And I would make sure she finds them. And because of my escapades, I ended up going to prison. I've been to prison twice, actually, for long periods of time, 2.5 years, in 2 different countries. But the first time I went to prison, she found those letters. And as a result, when I would call her now, she wouldn't even stay on the phone because the hurt was too much, because those letters were vulgar. Because that's the only way I could express, because no one would get close to me to ask me, how are you? So the letters really was so awful. But it's because I was really, really hurt as a person, in my defense at the time. I was really, really unhappy, and I just wanted love. And that's also how the promiscuity kind of got in, because if I'm not going to get it from you, second best thing, men, so yeah. And yeah, I couldn't remember the question. I'm so sorry.
No. We are asking, we were asking about how deep you had to go, because for you to keep this, because you have to keep you deceiving yourself all the time, pretending that you were good.
Yes.
But as much as you pretend that you were good, you have to go deeper and deeper and deeper to keep this how can I say, this facade pretend, I'm okay. There's
to
illusion.
see you really who you are inside.
Yeah, actually you're trying to hide in that suffering, that pain you had, and
I didn't want to.
Yes.
But I did have to face the real me eventually in prison, because in the prison, you're in a cell, you have to reflect.
There's no drinks, no drugs.
Exactly. There's nothing at all. So that's when I had to face myself. And oh my goodness, the person that I found, oh goodness me, that's when I was like, no, Prima, you need to change. This can't be your life. I think that's when I hit real sadness. I had never felt sadness like that time, discovering how you've allowed your life to come out of control. Because I had blamed people for so long for my own actions. when I was in prison and I had no one to blame, I couldn't handle it. So this came out in different ways, to the point that I was put on Valium, and it was a high dosage because the guards can't control me. I'm just fighting for the sake of fighting. And in the prison, everyone is sort of miserable. So it's like misery likes company, isn't it? So people are just adding to my frustration. I'm adding to theirs. We're all miserable together. And it was horrible. Psychologically speaking, it was very horrible. Outwardly, I was like a zombie. But inwardly, I felt everything. Then paranoia started. Then the desire again for the love. That thing kept coming there as well. So the second time when I went to prison, I actually got myself into a relationship with a transgender person. So they looked like a male, but they had female anatomy, so that's why they were there. So I even got myself in that, because at least then that's love as well. And I think love, if I can call it, was the only way I could, this Prima, this horrible person that I had met, could be like, you know, I can hide from her again through love, if I can say. So I was a serial dater as well. Anytime I had someone in my life, then yeah, that's normality to me. I wouldn't then be seeking thrills and trying to fight people. I would just be like, okay, no, you can be normal. And it was really, really difficult. It was, but I made peace with it. It was better to be that person than not exist. Because like I said before, if I wasn't this crazy, horrible person, I felt like I didn't exist. It's hard to explain, but it's like you're just living life numb. Your life is pointless. It was really sad to think that, and to think that my mum, you know, I'm disappointing her, and yeah, so it was an interesting.
And when you finally, you know, saw the need to change, you saw when this happened to you, and you saw, wow, I need to stop. I need to really, you know, change my life. I need to seek help. How did it happen to you?
So firstly, I will mention that this happened often, because the 2 times I went to prison, of course I had this epiphany, I need to change. But it's just that you want to change, but you don't know how to change. So that's why I would never change. But when I finally was like, okay, Prima, you need to change, was when my mum actually, I came out of prison, and then my mum actually found the church. Because by the time I came out of prison, the second time, I now suffered from insomnia. So before 5 a.m., I'm not falling asleep. The alcohol addiction was out of this world. I can buy wine bottles and now drink them by myself, and you don't need to disturb me, because I need to be by myself. Paranoia, no one's talking about me, but you've spoken about me, so we're going to fight. That's how it was. You know, my mum has no peace. I'm having nightmares, many things. So then she found the church, and then she gave me the ultimatum, okay, Prima, you're going to go, or you forget our family. And you know that love, that thing that I just wanted to be with her, to make her happy. So I was like, okay, let me just go. You know, if that's all it's going to take for her to love me, imagine all these years I've been trying. So if it's just to go, I'll go.
When did you realize that you had to, okay, now I really have to change. I really have to, you know, to turn my life around?
I think it was 3 months in. So at this point, I'm accepting that I have a problem, because this lack of sleep is really affecting me. The insomnia is affecting me. It's not okay. Like I have outbursts of anger. You know, I want to cry for no reason. I'm constantly seeking attention. I cannot stop drinking. In as much as I'm like, yeah, Stoptober, all these months, whatever, I cannot stop. I'm so dependent on it. So 3rd month in, I realized, okay, Prima, you have a problem here. You really do. And this church you've been going to, you keep hearing people overcoming, you hear testimonies, and you hear that there's help. Maybe just try to open up, see what happens, because do you not want to sleep? The sleep thing really started to get out of hand, and the anger thing as well. So then that's when, in that 3rd month or so, that's when I chose to speak to someone about it. And I told my partner, let's just speak about, because we were going through terrible things as well. So that let's just go and speak to someone and let's just see. And then he completely manifested. He didn't want to hear it. Things came out of control. We had a fight. So I was just like, no, I'm still going to go. And then when I went and I spoke, before speaking, it was like, they're going to judge you. This is what they're going to say about you. There's no point. They don't understand you. They've not been through what you've been through. I gave myself every reason to not do it. But still something was like, just try it. What's the problem? And then when I did, and then the advice and the response I received, I was like, oh, really? And then someone's still willing to hear more and still giving me solutions, as if to say the things that I'm facing, you know, you understand how to help me over. That was crazy to me. but it's because finally someone had taken time to, you know, go beneath the surface. So that was nice. So then I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to try to change it. If you claim it's possible, I'm going to try it. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, God, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove it's not going to work. I'm going to expose this church. Oh, my goodness. I was, yeah. But then I did, in that 3rd month, say, I'm going to try it. So that's when I decided after going.
So at the same time that you wanted to change, you wanted to find a way to prove that the church was was doing something.
Because the self-destruct mode is already in there. You've been this way your whole life, self-destructive. So yeah.
But you found there someone to listen
Can
you, to
Can
pay
you
attention
imagine?
what you're
Yeah.
feeling, your pulse.
But Prima,
Wow.
when you decided to change, I believe one of the barriers for your full transformation, correct me if I'm wrong, but was to face your past, to look behind and say, wow, so how can I leave this, you know, this bunch of things behind? How can I live with that from this point on? Do you remember when you had to take this decision? Do you remember how hard it was hard for you to overcome your past? Because, you know, it was not only a simple addiction, but we are talking about lots of things, and I believe you didn't mention everything.
No, I didn't even scratch the surface.
Even to
No,
forgive your parents.
That was the
forgive
Yes.
yourself.
that was the main one, forgiveness.
So Prima, finally, you found the author of love. And this is what you were looking for. You were really seeking love your whole life.
Literally.
Attention, to be loved. That's why you gave into this kind of relationship, toxic relationships, people that they were just, you know, literally using you, we can say, in many different ways. So when you realized that you could find true love, pure love, a love without, you know, any kind of second interest, how was that for you? Because I believe, as we said before the break, I believe one of the greatest barrier for you was to face your past. Because today, who can hear you now, who can watch you now, talking about your past? Perhaps they are watching you now saying, "Oh, come on, this is not true. How can someone, you know, talking about a past like that way,
Normal,
you know,
yeah.
naturally?" Because your past hurt you before. But talking about is not pleasant, but today it doesn't hurt anymore. But how was that? Because there are people that are watching us now, Prima, and they have, you know, similar situation. They are living a similar situation. Perhaps not, you know, not so deep as you went, but they are in a situation that they say, wow, how can I overcome that? You had, you know, this termination, this abortion.
How can I forgive myself?
How can I, because you had to forgive yourself. You have also to forgive people around you.
A
You remember
lot of
how many
people.
people had to forgive?
Yeah,
Your
even my
parents.
ex-partner put me in prison, so I had to forgive him.
Look
And
at
then-
that.
Yeah.
So I believe that was not a simple process. And how was that for you to overcome and face everything?
I really wish I can say that it was easy. I wish I could say that, but it was not. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but until this day, I'm happy I did it because now I can say it's a reflex. It's in my muscle memory almost because of how painful it was and how difficult it was. But I think the help, it was helpful having someone to talk to, first of all, having someone that's not judging me, someone that's willing to listen, and someone I can genuinely tell the truth to, you know, not just tell them a version of what I think they want to hear, but actually the truth of what's really going on inside of me. And then hearing what they advise me to do, and forcing myself to go to God, because forgiveness was the key thing of why I'm completely different today, forgiving all these people, because a lot of my pain, a lot of my actions came from the fact that I had grudges against so many people. So I had to try to remain consistent. So I kept going to the church, I kept talking to the people, and I would just write lists for myself. I would almost write like a kill list, a hit list of that. So and so did this. Okay, that's what they did. So and so did this. And then I would pray and I would be like, so today I'm going to push myself to pray for this person and forgive. Because part of the advice I received was like, pray for the person that hurt you. And some of these prayers were the most difficult prayers to ever make. But having a visual aid helped. Having the hit list, to be honest, it helped me, because seeing what these people have done, then remembering I've still survived this thing. I could have really taken my life because of some of the things I've been through. But because I didn't, and seeing that these things are here, and someone is telling me, Prima, pray for them, go to God about this, it helped a lot. But forgiving God as well, and then forgiving myself, these two, I didn't see how that was ever going to happen. And
So what was harder for you, to forgive people, to forgive yourself?
what was harder?
Yeah.
To forgive myself, absolutely, to forgive myself,
Mm-hmm.
because forgiving people, I had to reason with it. I'm still someone that I sit and I reason. Okay, but Prima, why do you want to do this? Okay, but what's that consequence going to be? So forgiving people was just like, do they even know that you feel this way? So it didn't make sense still holding on to grudges, because you're here, you're so bitter and you're so stern and you're like this, and someone's just living their life. So forgiving them was okay. Praying for them hard, but then you forgive. But forgiving myself, that's me having to go into that box and go to the memories and accept responsibility for my actions, be held accountable.
Because I believe you forgiving
Yeah.
people, somehow you can say, okay, I suffered that, but because you know him or she did something to me, so I decide to forgive you. But when it's you, so you have no one to put the blame on.
Yes.
It's you. So that's why I asked the question. You know, already thinking about that answer you gave you, it's harder to forgive
It was
yourself.
so hard, and constantly there's a voice reminding you, but this has happened, and because this has happened, this has set your timeline like this, your life could have been like this, but because you did this, these are your consequences, you have to live with it, you have this because you did this. And then almost it's like going through a cycle of self-hate, because I started to regret, Prima, why did you do that? Yes, they did that, but why you? Who's suffering? You have consequences because of your actions. That thing is so hard to hear.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. And I
And
was
hear from yourself.
from myself. Can you, oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because even in the rock bottom places, being in prison, being, you know, the pregnancies, being abused by this person, it's not, you're still in that la la land. But now being here and deciding to forgive yourself, I couldn't get past that. And I was thinking, but God, you've been there watching all of this. How can you say you're God? So that's why I couldn't forgive him, because I was like, but how? How do you say you're God? You actually sat there and watched me go through all of this. But thank goodness for the church, because this is where you go with your questions and you ask, how does God let that happen? And they explain, no, Prima, you've been given free will. God didn't let that happen to you. He gave you avenues and you chose. And now that you've chosen, that's the consequence or that's the result. You know, so it's like, again, you have no one to blame. So I had to be just consistent. I would wake up and pray for myself, you know. I would ask people that have hurt me for forgiveness. Imagine, it sounds far-fetched. You've hurt me, but I'm calling you to be like, please, I'm sorry. Oh, it was so difficult. But I knew I wanted to be happy. I knew I wanted peace. And now I have hope, you know, in the church. They're giving me hope. They're taking time with me. They're giving me this attention. They're telling me about the Holy Spirit, unconditional love. Can you imagine the author of love? So I was like, just try, Prima. You've sacrificed so much for less. As in, I've swallowed drugs in my body. I've carried cocaine in my body because I was like, I want to make money and make my mom happy. So why not for myself? Just forgive. You're not even putting your life in danger anymore. So admitting that I needed to forgive myself, that was the beginning. And then from there, I had people working with me. This is how we're going to do it, Prima. Yes, it's hard, but it's fine. And imagine I'd have outbursts and I'd be like, yeah, and the people would remain. So even I lost the fear of like someone's going to leave me. That fear of abandonment left me because these people remained. They stuck through it, you know? And that's when you're like, okay, God, I now see. And yeah, eventually,
So
consistency.
in a nutshell, we can say that you stop using emotions and you start thinking.
Yes, reasoning. Yes,
Reasoning about, you know, your past and understanding a little bit of your past.
Yeah.
So, Prima, today, of course, you cannot clearly, you didn't forget your past. You still remember.
But it doesn't
We're
hurt.
talking about the
Yes,
past,
you're
yeah.
talking about your past. And I believe if you had time, we would talk much more about your past. But, you know, there are people that they're thinking now, how is that possible? You were talking about it. Of course, I don't see that you are, you know, feel pleased to talk about your past. But at the same time, I don't see you're being hurt.
Yeah.
So how is...
Something again and bring
Yes.
everything again.
So for you to remember of these things, though it's not pleasant, but does these things hurt you today?
No.
So you were healed.
Yeah, yes, yes, I am. They can't hurt because they're in the past.
Yes.
You know.
So that's the division that people they have to understand, that they have to make between their past and their present.
Yes.
But dear friends, for as long as you want to keep your past present, you'll never be able to move on. You will stay stuck. You'll be there. Just living, a repetition of this pain, these emotions. But when you make a decision in your life, you are suffering now. Look at that. She came from a broken family. Disaster in your love life, we can say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So imagine, what do you see yourself, the way you are today? Like peaceful, blessed.
Would I see myself
Yes,
like this?
before.
No, never. Because you see it on TV. It's on TV, reading novels about it, but you think that no, they're just acting. It's just a facade. It's just fake. They're just doing it. So of course
And
I
now you are
never,
here.
and I'm like this.
Even because you don't have a reference in your family, a good
yes.
reference
Yes.
in your parents.
But it's about choice, I think, because even with the reference thing that you said, I could have really, like I was saying when I was younger, like the anger started because I saw my dad do that to my mum. So that's why I would choose to draw from that anger. So same way I understood, I used to choose to draw from that memory and allow that past to repeat itself. I can choose my reference now, and I can choose to draw from good memories, and I have so many of them. I do. So I've been able to do that. And it just comes down to choice. You choose. You want to allow your past to keep overwhelming you and repeating itself, or you choose that you want to let go and just begin something new. Literally do the next right thing. Just take one step. As walking, I'm just doing the next right thing, And that's all. Because now I can just stand up and be like, oh no, because it's, and leave. Why though? Why? I can just stay here and be happy because why not?
That's amazing. So we can say, look at that. We can take some lessons here from Prima's story. And that's why I have here this paper. And as you were saying about the list you made, you had the hit
My
list,
kill list, yeah.
but you had
Yeah.
also the forgiven list.
Yeah, it's the same list.
It's the
but-
same list.
Yes.
But it just had to change the intention.
Yes.
Yeah? So, dear friends, we know that is not easy. It's not easy to live what you are living. It's not easy for you to overcome your past. As we are talking to Prima here, she didn't forget her past. She still remember things that for sure she preferred not even to mention here. These things is still with her, but it's still there. It's still there. You don't need to carry this chest full of rubbish, full of pain. You don't need to carry that.
So many accusations.
Accusations, and that feeling that you are not worthy, that you don't deserve a better life.
This is not for you, this life.
This is just a big lie. Because the author of love, what happened to you when you had your encounter with the author of love? What happened to that anger you had, that desire for revenge and everything?
He just took it. It just went. When it happens, you're like, really? Just like that? But it really just went. And of course, it's a relief, Of course, the doubts come and you're like, so why did I spend all my life like this? But then you're also so overwhelmed by how good you feel that you want to continue remaining that way. So you do things to keep that peace. It's not easy, but I want this, so I'm going to keep fighting to keep this. I felt great because he just took it.
And how the love therapy helped you to overcome this process?
Oh my goodness. Love therapy, biggest help ever. And so I was very inconsistent with the love therapy at first because I was plagued with the thoughts of, oh my God, you're going to look desperate. Everyone's looking at you now. You're here for man. This is, look at you. Your whole life you just want man. Now you've come to love therapy for man. So that's how it was at first. So I was very inconsistent with it. But then the messages are so amazing, so practical. As soon as you apply, you're like, really? All I do is apply? Because everything's given, it's given to us, but it's just that the inconsistency that really, really was a stumbling block in my way. But once I put my foot down, I was like, push yourself. You want to be fine, right? And I was consistent, and I applied the messages. I started to have self-esteem, you know, I started to value myself. I felt I had substance, I had a purpose, and then the self-love grew. I didn't even realize self-love was like a thing like this, but the self-love just grew. Then because you're so happy with yourself, you're so, you know, it exudes itself, I think. You don't really do anything. And someone that wanted attention like me, always doing the most. Now if I just do this, you know, I just, something exudes because there's something different. Because all I did was just apply. You know, practical. It's not a waste of time in the slightest, as in we are given pinpoints, even in the most layman's terms. Do this, let go of this, do like this, apply like this. Even we're told times, this time you're doing this time, write this, tonight with it, together.
It's just like school.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine?
Learn
Yeah.
everything.
But then, like, you allow your own doubts and your own things to cloud you, and then you inconvenience yourself, and then you get frustrated. Because when I was inconsistent, I was very frustrated because I was thinking, but I'm coming. God, why are you not? I was just being a body there, seat filler, and I wasn't even consistent. But when I put purpose to it, when I did it with an end goal in mind, it was so amazing. Immediate results, immediate, because you know, you have self-confidence. Then God is also there telling you, oh, Prima, I'm here, remember me. You now do things having Him in mind. He gives you your value. It's just amazing.
That's
It's
why.
nice.
That's why, dear friends, the author of love says, look at that. I will ask Shad to put on full screen now. Do not remember the former things. Look at that. Nor consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness. Look at that.
Powerful.
And rivers in the desert. Perhaps you are living in the wilderness. You look around and you see nothing, no hope, no future. This wilderness has been your past, just like Prima. When she was living her past, it was a wilderness, no future, no hope, no way out.
No way out.
Just like a prison,
No one to love you.
and sometimes literally a prison.
Yeah.
For 2 times,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah.
But God, He made a road in the wilderness. You know what is this road? This road is the way out. Is the road that will take you out from this wilderness of pain, of sorrows. Yes, grudges, this anger. Perhaps you are struggling to forgive yourself. Sometimes, even for you to look at the mirror and to look into your eyes, to face who you are, that's hard for you. Because every time you look at yourself, you see your past. You see who you were. I believe that was what...
All the time, even down to job interviews. I would
Wow.
just see my past. I'm already like, I would write myself off, oh, I have a criminal record, they're not going to take me. So that will show in my behavior, and I wouldn't perform well in an interview.
And today, Prima, when you look at the mirror, what you see?
What do I see?
Yes.
I
When you
s-
look at your eyes.
Oh. I see just, I see anything is possible. I see
Yes.
happiness. I see like, really, I see disbelief even, because I'm like, really? Oh, I see.
So God made
endless
this road for you to
opportunities.
get out of this wilderness you were
Yes.
living.
God made
Absolutely.
everything new. in
He
our
made a way.
lives.
He made a way.
Everything.
Can you see? It's possible. It's doable. You can make it. Is that easy? Ask her. Is that easy?
No, not at all.
But it's possible.
It's possible and it's worth it. Yes.
It's about decisions.
Yes.
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 Even you, there are people. They are they are good. They are happy, living by appearance.
You have to there are
Yes.
people that they have to
Yes.
pretend.
By appearance,
Like
everyone,
you.
everyone
Yeah.
see you and then think you are happy. But when you arrive in your home and then you go to sleep, you know you are not happy. You will cry. You start thinking about your mistakes, your life. You want to kill yourself. You are not happy.
Yeah, you have to face the reality. When you have to, there are people that their reality, there is a name, pillow. Yeah, as soon as they hit the,
The
pillow,
they know everything.
yes, you have only your pillow. God's the author of love, and the devil knows. You know the taste of your tears. So it's time for you to change, dear friends. Remember, it's possible. And we are here to help you. This coming Thursday, it's possible for you to be happy in your love life. And today, Prima, I know that you still taking care of yourself, though you are healed. Though you are healed. But how do you see your future now? Talking about your love life, how do you see your future? For example, that Prima from before, do you believe that she would be able to see herself in a family living peacefully?
No.
And now,
no,
how
no,
do
no.
you see yourself today?
Absolutely. I see myself, if that's what I want, I can definitely attain it. I can receive it, and I'll be great at it, because I won't lead myself. I have God leading me, you know, and I have confidence that he's going to lead me, because I'm coming to him. You know, it's not like he's hiding from me. I'm coming to him, so he'll be there. So that the Prima, yeah, she can have that if that's what she wants. Definitely.
Yes.
And then you are still single. Isn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
But
I
you
am.
are happy. You are in peace. You will
Yes.
trust in
Though
God.
you are single, you
yes.
feel alone.
No, that's it. I don't even feel alone. Mm-mm.
You cry every
Because
night.
You feel the needy. Oh no, I have to have someone by my side. Let me find someone.
I
here.
have had those moments of the neediness, and then what I realized is in that time I wasn't spending time with God. So of course I'm needy because I'm far from him. So
Yeah.
yeah, of course I was needy. So it's teachable moments like that remind me where I need to stay. That's my place, and it's just mine. He's given it to just me, and he has one for each and every person that wants it. So if it's a thing of someone's going through that and they're like, but I'm in the church, and then things, no, but please stay close to God, because you won't feel these things. You won't. So, and if you feel them, he'll help you deal with them as he helps me deal with them.
Yeah, because
You
you
know.
made God your first husband. isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
And
yeah.
he's still.
Yeah.
And he
Oh.
forever will be.
Yes, we cannot divorce. No way. Oh, it's not possible.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Prima, for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight.
My
For sure, it's a
pleasure.
great blessing. You know, you
Yes, for
bless
sure,
many
bless
people.
many
Yes,
people
yes.
today.
The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.